Uh, it's cold in my apartment. My house, my apartment, whatever. All right, so let's get into it. Stories that are in the news today are the CIA is collecting bulk data on Americans and spying on us. And this is news to everybody but me. I told you, remember the one I told you that there's I was talking in the context of civil rights, and I was like, Dr. King doesn't rise anymore because the government is already in his emails and on his Twitter, and shit. So once you begin to get, I guess, famous in any of these unionizing civil rights, whatever, and more people begin to go to your Twitter, the government also goes there. Uh, and likely before anybody else knows who you are, they know who you are, and then they just undo you. Um, yeah. What are you gonna do, man? The government. It's always the government, right? Watched the thing today where it was talking about horses, and the horses originated in Russia. I was like, what? And then it made sense because the Mongols were horsemen, right? Uh, Great horsemen, the first originally great horsemen, right? Um, they traveled far and wide in the Far East. Shows that they could not only could they ride, but they could, endure, right? They could not just war riding, but like kind of like across the prairie, camping, holding out, taking care of the horse, making sure the horse is right, and all this stuff. That was they said 7,000 years ago, or was it 17,000 years ago? It might have been 17,000 years ago. Uh, Arbery killers shared racist messages, and white supremacist songs with friends. I love this shit. It's so ridiculous that in this modern age, you can still have this. It's depressing, man. And here's the thing about some of these things. I believe that the scrutiny won't stop it. People will be uh, better with it, right? They're more likely to risk it because of the scrutiny. Because the scrutiny says, I was doing this before with no scrutiny. Oh, now I stand to go to jail for 30 years. Now I definitely have to be on my game when I rig this thing, right? Yeah, people are doing 30 years in jail, 44 years in jail. Things they didn't do. Whew. I may have to cut on another light. It has been a long day. I've been up and running for a minute now. Everybody's talking about Civil War. I went in a rant about that yesterday. That's on yesterday's show. Knock yourselves out. I won't repeat myself. Months after Oregon arcade burned to the ground, police identify murder victim found in the rubble. So someone killed this person and then set the arcade on fire? 40 years old. That is not old at all. Some of this doesn't make any sense. All right. 500 arrested in statewide human trafficking operation. That's a prostitution thing. Excuse me. Now they just rebranded it human trafficking to send you to jail for 30 years and then tell people that they're fucking tough on crime. They've made shoplifting bubble gum. They're shoplifting in general. They've made it a cut your hand off offense. That's what this is. Meanwhile, people in Washington insider trade. And mind you, I got no love for prostitutes. I'm against it if I'm gonna go out on a limb. Uh, but at the end of the day, it's prostitution. He didn't kidnap anybody. She didn't. I wonder what they're charging these women with. Because I mean, it's a way to get at the men. I think America really do want. Well, how can I phrase this? I think America wants squishy men that you could tell what to do, right? I think we have been at trying to kill off the American male energy for a while. So you could be run by these old people. And when I say old people, I mean 90 years old. It's ridiculous, right? It used to be people in their 40s, well, not really 40s, but their 50s and 60s, not their 80s. Whew, I don't know what else is new. The Russians are backing off. Kelly Clarkson. He's a murder victim. He died of smoke inhalation. So, are you telling me? Hold on, wait. Let's look at this again. Did they catch the arsonist and then go through this building and then find this guy? Uh, Recently was his body, and because remember there was a building that fell down, and three construction workers died in there, and they didn't recover those guys for like 8 months because the floors had collapsed. They had to check to make sure the whole building wasn't going to come down on people. One resident is facing resident A Hillsborough, Oregon resident is facing a second-degree murder charge after being accused of arson. Okay. Washington County prosecutor filed a new 21 count indictment, 21 counts. If each count can give you 10 years. I mean, it's just, I don't know. You should pay for your crime, obviously. But I think there are people who just throw people's lives away. They should be in government because they're sinister, they're dark. Meanwhile, they fucking rig the system so they can be just crappy. Um, the the indictment comes after Leon allegedly set the Whale Arcade in downtown Hillsborough on fire January 2nd, the news outlet added. In a news release issued Tuesday, police identified the body of the man who died of smoke inhalation inside the arcade as 40-year-old Ronald William Knapp. The Hillsborough Police Department said that his body was recovered in the debris from the fire. As a result of the death, Mr. Knapp, after as as a result of the death of Mr. Knapp, these findings were presented to the Washington District Attorney's Office for review of additional charges, which makes sense, right? Police said in the news release, adding the suspect is being held in the Washington County Jail. Okay, was he mentally ill? So, according to the filed a new 20 count against 33 overall Leon Monday. He's 34. There's no picture of him. I mean, this is the thing that pisses me off about modern media. They don't like to give you pictures for stories in your internet feed, right? There'll be one picture of a famous person, but one picture of the bad guy. Hmm. I am really tired. How COVID changed the world. I'm not even going to read it, but yeah, I totally agree with that. All these millionaires, excuse me, all these millionaires opting out of stuff. Like Yoda, I keep calling him Milosevic. It's not Milosevic. That's the guy who he said they kicked him out of Australia. Vladan's the Voloko. Oh man, I'm totally mangling his name. Anyway, Tiger Woods frustrated at pace to recover after wreck. Still working on walking with limited golf. Yeah, he's a mess. Hackers are making a fortune stealing from kids in Roblox. There's always no hackers, so they make it seem like it's a handful of people doing this all the time. Whenever you hear hackers, it's someone new all the time. You should when someone says hacker, you should view that shit like someone saying someone shoplifted. I mean, it's not always the same shoplifter, but the idea is, it implies people know more than you on the internet. And the people who are supposed to be protecting your information as they ask you to be on the internet, on their platforms and all this stuff, are woefully unprepared usually. Usually. All right. We've only been going for 15 minutes. I'm really tired. I could cut that light on. I was up yesterday till like 3:30 in the morning playing this game called Bannerlord. Um, sometimes it's like sometimes it's just bad. All right, so I guess this is gonna be another short one, man. We'll be back tomorrow. Uh, I didn't do this Monday. There's not a lot to talk about. It really isn't. That Secret Service story is crazy. Their former officer snaps at prosecutor when asked why he didn't try to get Derek Chauvin off of George Floyd. Hindsight's 2020. You know what I'm saying? Hindsight is 2020. But not always. Sometimes hindsight is fucking the same as foresight. You choke a man out on the street and expected what? Life in prison. Never another cold beer. Never another fresh piece of fruit. Never another decent salad. Much less watching the latest TV show or Netflix, latest phone, cute girl or boy, whatever your preference is, right? For dumb shit. Dumb shit. Racist violent evidence presented in federal trial against Ahmaud Arbery's killers. Ugh, am I even gonna bother? Okay, let's read some of this because I think it bears that we let's move this down. It bears that we read some of it. All right, so this is from NPR by Liz Baker. Is every journalist now a fucking woman? No disrespect, but man, did they make this whole thing lopsided. So none of the men can go to college, but you've manufactured all these women, college educated people, in an unbalanced society where no one gets married, kids don't have two parents, divorce is king. I think you're assuming that people want that kind of uh, man-woman dynamic. I don't think they do. All right, let's get to it. Racist violent evidence presented in federal trial against Ahmaud Arbery's killers. There was a text message from Travis McMichael complaining about black people at a local restaurant. Need to change the name from Cracker Barrel to Nigger Bucket, he wrote. There was a video shared by McMichaels on Facebook of a black boy dancing on the Ellen Show. The original music cut out and swapped for the racist song Alabama Nigger by Johnny Rebel. The music went on and on for an uncomfortably long time, the dehumanizing lyric blasting through the courtroom like something from a blackface minstrel show. A comment under the video of Black Lives Matter protester in which McMichaels wished for a semi-automatic rifle in order to shoot people he described as goddamn monkeys. Another post advocating driving Another post advocating driving into a group of black people with a vehicle. Even a text conversation between McMichael and a friend about zoodles, Zoodles, zoodles. That's noodles made of zucchini, involving the N word. Noodles made with zucchinis involving the N word. I don't understand it. Uh, is that the only evidence, or is there more evidence? Asked the prosecutor. There was more, replied the witness. FBI agent Amy Vaughn. Vaughn had analyzed the contents of cell phones and social media accounts for the government, building his case against McMichaels, his father Greg McMichaels, and neighbor William Roddy Bryant, who are on trial for violating Ahmaud Arbery's civil rights when they chased him down in public on a public street and shot him while he was out for a run, February 23rd, 2020. Three men were already convicted of the murder and sentenced to life in prison at a state trial last year. Three life in prisons, one with the possibility of parole after 30 years, and he's 60. Two life in prisons, no parole. One guy's 30. If he lives to be 80, that's 50 years. And the other guy is 68. He just retired. He retired like 8 months before this happened. Idiot. Um, Worked your whole life to commit a major felony to spend the rest of that whole life in a cage, right? So yeah, he's like 80. If he's like 80, he's like 60. He may spend. It's gonna get hard for him. He may spend 15 years there before, right? 75, 80, right? Um, if you fight to overturn your case and they say, "Oh, you're not guilty," but generally by the time they overturn your case, it's 15 years, and that's if you're fucking early. Right? Usually, they don't overturn your case for 25 years. You did your whole damn sentence. But this one looked cut and dry. This looks like people are just. The next time, likely, if I live that long, I or you will hear about them will be so and so died in prison. He was remembered for doing this thing in 2010. I remember every now and then there's a famous convict who dies in jail, and they like the last one was Charles Manson, right? Charles Manson did this horrible thing. I grew up with his name. They made movies about him. Then he's just an old rotted old fuck dead in jail, and they go, "Yeah, so and so died in jail today." Da 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 da. He did this in 1968. That was 50 years ago. You're like, oh, well. Like Scott Peterson, I think is gonna be one of these people. Somebody's gonna look up one day and they're gonna be like, Scott Peterson, who murdered his wife, blah, 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 was very famous. They commuted his death penalty to life in prison. He died in prison today of at 50 of cancer or at 90 of old age or whatever. It's messed up. It's not worth the game. They were already convicted. Okay, so they had a lot of racist shit on there. Yeah, I'm not surprised. OCDA made racist comments in the case of black defendants. Memo alleges. What is OC? Orange County. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I really do think that all the racists are in the ABA. They never seem to have a problem with any of the nonsense going on. Uh, he settled his case before it got anywhere near trial. That family is sitting on $1 trillion. They don't pay taxes. The government gives them 100 million a year. Private jets. I mean, they're a rich family. They're a family like the Pope, right? They've got all the same swag as the Pope, but he claims religion. They claim royal lineage of family or some bullshit. Uh, and then there's the new royals, right? Like the North Korean guy. I got my country from my dad, who got it from his dad. He founded it. He's the third George Washington. Why shouldn't they have the founder's son, who's an asshole, run the place? We're like, no, we want democracy. Yeah, but England, is that a democracy? Or is it a monarchy that dabbles in capitalism? Just like the Chinese are communists that dabble in capitalism, which doesn't make any fucking sense. So nobody can do anything, but you can do all the capitalist shit and rape your political, not rape, uh, political opponents, Olympic tennis players, all this kind of goofy nonsense. The place is bad. This, don't even get me started. All right. Yeah. I was playing Bannerlord yesterday. I can't wait for this little kick, whatever this is, for me to loving these Mountain Dews to end. It cannot replace the whiskey. I don't want any more whiskey. But I just go back to drinking. Well, I just drink a lot of water. I don't so much anymore. Uh, because now I find that I want something sweet occasionally when I'm drinking something. There have been at least 39 gay Olympic figure skaters. Here's the list. Why do I need to know? First of all, I thought they all were gay. And why? Okay. Slow news day, I guess. But you're okay. By the way, how's your Black History Month going? I don't hear much talk about black people or black history or any of that shit. But I'm just wondering how yours is going. Jared Kushner ally pardoned by Trump pleads guilty to attempting to spy on ex-wife. Dude, dear Lord, you get a pardon and then you break the law again. The arrogance of these people. No, Hillary Clinton did not infiltrate or quote unquote infiltrate or hack Donald Trump, experts say. Yeah, that's not what she's being accused of. See that article? It implies that Hillary Clinton and her people hacked the and that because he's the president, mind you. That's hard to do. After that, he's government status. And once he becomes a nominee, he gets all the government treatment anyway. So all of this had to be when he was a candidate, but that's not what they're saying they did. They tried to associate him with the Russians so the FBI or the CIA will open an investigation so they could then go, he's being investigated by the FBI for being in bed with the Russians. How can you have him be president, right? So when they go, oh, we were fucking totally wrong and somebody was playing games, the election would have been over and the Clintons would have won. They did this late in the game with Obama, where they released his picture of him dressed as a Muslim with a head wrap on, getting a sword from his imam, and they were like, "Look at this, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, terrorist, terrorist, terrorist." The fucking Clintons suck. Um, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. All right, I guess that's it. This has been about 25 minutes. Um, thanks for coming through. I could cut in the light and go a little long, but there's really no news. And I'm sort of just, I gotta stop playing video games at 1 in the morning when I have to be up at like 6:30. Uh, but I gotta tell you, video games is a time sink. And then I stopped, and then I got up and I was noodling my guitar. I want a new guitar. La da 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 da. Pretty good. So this is what I do all night. I practice my bar chords. They ring out clearer on this. Better. Yeah, that's late. Oh, that one was better. All muddy and dirty. Whew, my fingers are already getting tired. I mean, people play shows. Yeah. Um. How strong the hand and the fingers must be to get all that done is fairly impressive. All right, let's cut this off. Let's give you a good thanking too. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. Uh, normally we stream for an hour and a half. Uh, sometimes we stream for 4 hours. We have those days. But today, it's hump day. It's a quiet day. I'm gonna cuddle up next to a video game or maybe a guitar. I gotta work on my 1, 2, 3 Z, 4Z, 5Z, 6Z, 7Z, 8Zs, otherwise known as 1 and flat 1, flat 3, 3, flat 4, 4 flat. Yeah, it's that whole kind of goodness. Because once I get it, then I can solo. But part of this, putting all this stuff in your head, even with like not good fingers, I feel like once my fingers warm up, I'll be in prime position not to have to relearn stuff. But we'll see how it goes. I want to thank you for coming through. Uh, it's Hump Day, baby, baby. It's Hump Day. Like and subscribe. Uh, and I'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 ish, let's say, because I was a little late today. But we'll see you tomorrow. It's 7:30. We went live at 7. I said I was supposed to be 6:30. Uh, you know, it is what it is, man. I will see you in the next one. The next one is tomorrow, 6:37 ish. Let's say. Be there or be square, or at least be here, or be square. How's that?